time to spill the secrets.
This is Universal Secrets with Tiffany Mack and Kevin Hale.
It is Tuesday night. You know what that means?
Means it's Universal Secrets with Tiffany Mack and Kevin Hale.
Want to get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah. I got it.
How are you? How are you?
I'm good.
Good?
I'm good. Yeah.
Really? Where's your
Do you
lips?
notice anything different?
I noticed the red is missing from the lips.
I know. I am so sorry, Maria. I could not find my lipstick.
You only have one lipstick?
I only have one of the red ones that I could usually find.
Okay.
I think I have two.
You got?
None.
Okay.
It's either nude or red or this color right here. That's it.
Nude, red, or
and if you hear some movement and craziness, my dog is beside us and she's having a little fit because her dog, her little stuffed animal, was stuck down here since last Tuesday and I didn't know it. And now she's going bonkers because she just found it.
Gee, what the hell kind of owner?
I know. She probably thought it was abducted, never to be seen again.
There is something about that household.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Secrets streaming live on this Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Tiffany, our go-to is always going to be UFOs, aliens, ETs. Look at the last three letters of our name, Secrets.
ETs.
Yeah. And we got a show tonight that there's going to be so much stuff to talk about. And I want to try to pace this and do our guest justice. I mean, he did a great job in sending us all this information, talking points. He's got a book to talk about. Can you pronounce the book?
Based on my ignorance, I would say Thiaoouba, but I'm not sure.
Thiaoouba.
Yeah, but I'm not sure because I'm assuming. Well, I haven't read Thiaoouba Prophecy. I want to hear him say it because I know I'm butchering it.
Well,
but I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah.
I am. That doesn't mean I can pronounce everything on Earth, though.
Okay. Well,
even though it does sound Greek, so we'll have
see.
To
with
see.
you can pronounce. I think you can pronounce everything on Earth. I think you can pronounce everything in the galaxies.
Ooh.
All over 100 alien species that
I would love to be able to do that.
I think you already can.
What if I can and it's been suppressed during my waking hours?
I know. With you, nothing is off the table with you.
All I can say is that would be really cool. That would be, how you ask about superhuman strength or,
talking to animals.
Or talking to animals. Mine would be probably speaking to every ET, speaking every language. That would be it. The Tower of Babel crashing down and dispersing languages across the earth. I hate it because I want to be able to speak all of those languages. Yeah. Okay. That's my wish. That would be my superpower.
All right, cool.
So if anybody can make that happen.
Let's get the party started. I'm going to push back. Not always. A lot of times we do the guest bio, and it just, depending on how much they send us,
right,
takes up a lot of time.
Correct.
So why don't we just have the cool guy come on and tell us about himself? And the other thing, cool. I'm gonna give Samuel, our guest, Chong, welcome. Thank you for hanging with us tonight. I'm probably skipping to some parts here, but I want to throw this at you. You do a scholarship every year, correct?
Yes.
Share that real quick, because I in this day and age, any good news or anything good gesture, I'm all for it. So
Yeah.
what's that about?
So it's a $1,000 scholarship that gives out every year for anyone who reads about the book Thiaoouba Prophecy and writes about it, and we select one winner among all the applicants every year. It really doesn't matter if you're a student or not, if you're working or not, if you're a U.S. citizen or not. It opens to all the people in the world, regardless of race, gender, or national origin. It's just something that I want to encourage people to do, to read and also to explore the unknown.
There you
Now,
go,
I
Tiffany.
had looked it up, and apparently, from what I found, there is a 185-page PDF.
Yeah.
That was for free.
Yeah.
You can actually buy the book on barnesandnoble.com for $9.99. And then on Kindle and everywhere else on Amazon, it's like $19.99. So I think I would probably recommend doing the PDF for those who really enjoy just sitting at your computer and laptop and reading it that way. Or you could be super crazy like me and potentially just take it to the Office Depot and have them print the sucker out for probably $95. I really enjoy having a hard copy. So I did not get to purchase it. And it is on my list. It's on my list. So now that there's a scholarship potential, I'm going to get my girls to read it and send in some samples for you.
Yeah, the key is to read it, because we receive about 2,000 applications every year. 99% of the applicants, I can tell immediately they don't read the book.
Right.
They just use AI or something.
I think there's a lot of easy ways out, and potentially from our age, we have cliff notes in the brain, and you always want to cheat with the short version. But you're saying that the entire book needs to be read before you submit your
because I can tell. The book is so the book is so unique. It's impossible to cheat. It's just not possible at all.
So what turned you on to this book? Because this is a majority of your investigations.
It answers the ultimate questions that we all crave about, like what's the meaning of life, why accidents happen, why tragedies happen, and also, is there life after death? Is there reincarnation? And also the secrets kept by the government or the politicians. It answers questions like where we all came from originally, and also who built the Great Pyramid of Egypt. What about the ancient civilizations such as Lemuria or Atlantis? And also, what about the events that's recorded in the Bible, like the destructions of Sodom and Gomorrah? Who gave the manna to the Hebrews to eat during Exodus? Who really parted the sea for Moses? And who was Jesus and who is Christ? What about the real dangers on earth? And actually, number one is money. Number two is politicians. Number three, journalists and drugs. Sorry, Tiffany. And number four, religions.
He said sorry. The journalist thing.
But see, those are fantastic. Those are very important. Sounds very lame, but right now my brain is fried. So those are very huge topics for humanity, and I think you hit sort of all of the key ones that everybody has been pondering for eternity.
He covered all the food groups, for sure. And I was sharing with Samuel before you came on that I think in this show tonight, Tiffany, he might give me the answers to those three great questions that I always ask.
From what I saw, I think that he might have some answers.
He might convince me, some way or that.
And just for your knowledge, Kevin is our skeptic. And I'm a believer to a degree. I have a very large set of boundaries for my belief system. I do believe, but there are limitations. So Kevin sort of keeps me grounded. How's that?
Yeah, but listening to her tell her story, Sue, is very fascinating. And the thing is, as a skeptic, I don't immediately say it's, the light in the sky is a UFO or the bump in the night is some spirit or ghost or something. But I'm 100% convinced that Tiffany believes, and as her friend, I have to side with her, so. But
because I haven't lied to him before, why lie now?
Exactly.
Is that
Right?
is that on record? You've never lied to me? No?
I've never lied to you.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know.
I'm gonna look in your eyes. I have never lied to you.
Okay.
How's that?
All right.
Can you believe it? Okay.
Before we dive into the book, give us a short bio for you.
I'm a certified court interpreter in Los Angeles. I also have a KD degree. That means I mostly work with lawyers and doctors, people who are really grounded. I studied at UC Berkeley, majoring in economics. Went to London School of Economics and studied economic history, and I have a master's degree in financial analysis from a university in Spain called Universidad Castellana de Madrid. So I also speak Spanish. So I have my own translation company. I work with a lot of people in different industries, interpreting for them, translating for them, and also, but my main focus right now is to really change the future for the better and to wake people up in the world.
When you say wake people up, what exactly do you mean by that?
I mean, there are still a lot of people relying on the mainstream media or
social media
or the politicians. That's
Which
actually,
is,
yeah.
So you're suggesting that's not the best place for your information to be coming from?
Exactly. You should look inside for answers. Look inside and follow your intuition. And that's actually one thing I want to talk about, which is one of the most important sentences in the Bible. It's actually the kingdom of God is within you. We should follow our intuition to the most.
And one of the rest of that was look behind a tree and I'm there, look under a rock and I'm there, behind a rock. There's like the suggestion that God is not in a building, God is not in a structure, God is everywhere and part of everything. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's definitely correct. Yes. God is omnipotent and it's a pure spirit.
Yes. So based on that belief, how did that lead you into the world of extraterrestrials and the potential that they are real and among us?
I grew up in China in the 1980s. There were magazines that talk about UFOs or ET visits to Earth. There was a specific magazine called UFO Magazine that talks about a physicist who was taken by the ETs on their spacecraft. And then he was told that there are like the three fundamental theorems of Albert Einstein were really important for the human development. But there's a small mistake in one of the three theorems. And then that's why we are not able to travel faster than the speed of light. So in my mind, if we can just learn from the ETs who have advanced technologies and also knowledge from us, we can just progress at a much faster pace. So that's always in my subconscious mind. So after I came to the US, I was looking for books written by ET contactees. And I read a lot. And a lot of them were just speaking about the general theories or without any specific verifiable facts. But then in 2014, I found this book. It was titled back then, Abduction to the Ninth Planet.
Ninth Planet, yes, I saw that.
Yes. And it has a lot of specific verifiable facts. And remember, I work with a lot of lawyers and doctors. I need proof. I need verifiable facts. And this book is so specific that I was able to investigate and do a lot of additional research on the details mentioned in the book. And it really convinced me that the author really had experience being taken by the ETs to their planet for 9 days and then came back along with the knowledge that he learned from them.
And who was the author? Who was he as a person?
He was a landscaper or farmer who was living in Cairns, Australia. He was a French Australian named Michel Desmarquet. And because the book was so fascinating and also so revealing, and I went to visit him in Vietnam, where he was living in his later part of his life before he passed away. He was just a regular person, didn't have a lot of education, didn't know how to use a computer, didn't know how to surf the internet. And he had experience back in 1987, years before the age of the internet.
Can you describe what was the experience that was so profound for him?
So he woke up in the middle of the night, and he didn't know why, but he wrote a note to his wife saying that he will be gone for 10 days, and there's absolutely no need to worry about him. So he walked outside of his house. He was lifted up to the middle of the air, where he saw a very beautiful, gigantic, 10-foot tall ET, blonde, very sexy looking ET.
Would this be considered one of the Aryan type entities?
Well, it's similar, but not quite.
Okay.
He learned that she was actually a hermaphrodite later, like
Okay.
meaning that she would also have male sexual organs, in addition to her breasts and female sexual organs. So they're highly advanced, and so he before he entered into their spacecraft, they actually stopped in a parallel universe, which explains the missing planes and ships in the Bermuda Triangle, and also the people who hike in the national parks in the US and Canada, as documented by David Paulides.
They go missing. Yes.
Yes. Now,
Oh, wow.
so we haven't had David on before, but I've actually met him in person, and we've discussed some of those missing 411 cases. So you're saying that a lot of those cases, which are in the thousands, in our nation's parks, and not even just the US parks, right? This is like parks all over the world, and going in, having a good walk, and planning on coming back out and just vanishing. There's no sign of them. There's no trail. It's just like everything gets dropped cold and like a body just vanishes. So what do you feel did you feel that you found some confirmation of David's research and this gentleman's research?
Nice.
Yes, it's actually Michel Desmarquet's personal experience of going inside of a parallel universe, describing what is inside, who he saw and what happened inside, and then coming out of the parallel universe. It's actually a natural phenomena in which there are certain locations on Earth that are kind of like warps or portals that can suck people nearby into the parallel universe where time stops.
It's like the whole idea behind a Stargate.
Yeah.
That's been documented in movies and Star Trek and things like that. It seems like a science fiction type phenomenon, but so this gentleman said that he went into one of these portals or Stargates, and now was he there for 10 days?
No, he was on the planet Thiaoouba for 10 days, but they temporarily stopped in the parallel universe for a short time. Actually, the ETs use the parallel universe as a hiding place. So this is why sometimes we see the sky and the UFOs, the UAPs appear out of nowhere in the middle of the sky, and this is why, like they use the parallel universe as a place to hide themselves.
He's making too much sense already.
Sorry.
But okay.
That's very difficult.
Yes.
How do you how So can you share a little bit more information about the portals?
Yeah, so the portals change locations in the atmosphere. So this is why that they're just like ribbons floating in different locations in the atmosphere. And so if you're going to be using electromagnetic devices, we are going to detect the abnormalities. But once you're inside the parallel universe, time stops, and people don't feel any pain, hunger, or thirst. So this is why when you talk to David Paulides in the future, you're going to ask him about the corpse that he found, the people who came out of the parallel universe, because it seems that they walked to their bones. It seems that they didn't feel any pain or like a high temperature, because time stops, and people, once inside the parallel universe, they're just stuck there forever unless they know how to get out. And actually, Michel Desmarquet saw people wearing medieval clothes and also people behaving like savages. And this is why some people say that the Bigfoot, they can come in and out of the parallel universe at their will, because they appear and disappear all of a sudden.
Did Michel ever discuss the idea of Sasquatch in his book?
No, that's just my personal.
So that's your okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For the record, the book Thiaoouba Prophecy, it's not per se a book of prophecy, correct?
Well, in a sense, it's not, but it also contains a lot of facts that were proven years after the book was written or published.
Okay.
So in a sense, it's a prophecy of the book when it's published, but it doesn't predict the future.
Gotcha. It's like right now I'm at a fork in the road, but there's like about 10 different lanes for me to go.
I know.
Let's stay on the ET lane.
Okay, go.
So one of the things that you had mentioned in your paperwork that you had sent was that he claimed that there were 147 different types of ETs. When I hear that, it makes me wonder, are they lining them up and counting them individually? Because I've heard from multiple people, oh, there's 57. Well, now I'm looking at 147. Is there a unique number that will be accurate, or is that something that's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow as we grow amongst the stars?
It'll continue to grow, because 147 is actually the minimum number of ET species in our Milky Way galaxy. That's a minimum number, because
just in the Milky Way.
Yes, just in our Milky Way galaxy.
Okay, all right.
Because he saw the corpse of the 147 different ETs displayed in a golden doco, or golden dome-shaped structure. So he was able to communicate with different ETs, and also, of course, the Jehovans or Thiaoubans. And actually, the Thiaoubans have been are the ones that have been watching over us throughout history. Like, who do you really think that's parted the sea for Moses?
Do you think those are the watchers of the Bible?
Yes, in a sense, yes, they are.
Yes,
they're the ones who took Enoch away.
Oh,
see, I buy into that. I'm not the religious guy, but to me that makes sense. Not an invisible old man in the sky kind of thing. It's all alien to me. Not gonna ask the author of the book, and I ask this with due respect because I'm just blurted out. What made him so unique, so special for him to take this trip?
There are three reasons. One is that he was a man of action. He took actions immediately whenever he was instructed. Second was that he was just like a blank piece of paper to write on. He didn't have any preconceived notions or presuppositions or any agenda, like a ufologist or a politician or a physicist for that matter. And the third reason is the most important, is that he had 80 past lives already on Earth or on different planets. So only people like him are able to survive for 9 days on their planet. For example, probably because of different vibrations. For example, if I were to go there, I probably would only survive for maybe 4 or 5 days, but he could survive for 9 days. So that's why they chose him.
So apparently he's more advanced. He's more of an advanced being because of his own past experiences, therefore he maybe achieved a certain amount of information throughout these lives, that he was given the opportunity to go and see these things and share with the world?
Yes, in a sense, he was an old soul.
Mm,
Mm.
I like the way you said that.
Yes.
I sort of feel like there are people on Earth who have definitely lived in different time periods and retained that information and those memories to a degree. Um, I feel like I've had past lives before, and I think that that's it resonates well, and I think that a lot of our listeners would believe that that resonates for them as well. Can you tell us a little bit about the aspect of past lives in relation to this topic?
Yeah, so in the book, he was shown his past lives, his 80 past lives. So once he was a German miner who accidentally killed his wife, leaving many children behind him. A few times he was a beggar on street. Once he was a queen of a country on a different planet. Once he was a goldsmith in Japan or a water carrier in India. So he played many roles or he had many roles in different past lives. According to the ETs, our past lives are just like different positions on a wheel. What goes up has to come down. So we have to experience different roles in different past lives to learn the different spiritual lessons that we
Mm.
have to learn in order to move up the ladder, to grow spiritually. So in a sense, it really doesn't matter if you're the super wealthy, just like maybe Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Warren Buffett. It really doesn't matter. Or if you're a beggar on street. We are all the same because we don't take away our wealth when we die. What we take with us is the spiritual lessons that we learn in this lifetime. And this is really important because it's important to follow the teachings of Christ because that's actually the most important lesson that we can learn or one can learn in our lifetime.
You touched on the Moses, the Red Sea.
Yeah.
Explain that, or explain it, convince me. Well, not that you need to convince me, but share. What's your take on that?
So it's important to realize that there's the creator of the universe, the creator of everything, which is a pure spirit, versus the angels or Jehovah's in the Bible, who are actually ETs who are guarding us or helping us or monitoring our activities, being our mentors. So what really happened was that when the Hebrews were under the rules of the Egyptian pharaohs, their spiritual development was suppressed. So in order to help them, the ETs from Thiaoouba or Jehovah decided to really lend Moses a big hand by giving him messages and helping him to lead the Hebrews away from the evil rules of the ancient pharaohs. So they parted the sea for Moses. They gave the manna for the Hebrews to eat during Exodus. And actually, it took them about 3.5 years to reach their destination, not the 40 years mentioned in the Bible. So there are some kind of mistranslations or some missed by the scribes in the past. So this book, Thiaoouba Prophecy, kind of corrects some of the mistakes made by the scribes. So
You
this is what
mentioned,
happened. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you mentioned the manna in the Bible. So there's a manna machine, right? Does it say anything about that technology? Because it was like they literally just had this machine and this bread or grain or whatever it was just sort of producing. It reminds me of maybe like a yeast that is constantly producing. But do you have any ideas? Does he mention anything about the manna machine and how it was developed, or whether it was truly just a gift from these angels in order to help get them and help them survive in the desert without food?
Well, if you read the book, you're gonna know that they're highly advanced, and manas are actually their space food. When the food that they eat when they travel intergalactically, because they're very compatible, but also very nutritious. They're made of grains or oaks, so but it's tasteless. It's white in color, but it's tasteless, and they rot every 24 hours. So this is it doesn't, but it also talks about what kind of food they eat. So on their planet, they eat different colors of powders, or different powders of different colors. And being a Frenchman, Michel Desmarquet wasn't really happy about the food that he ate on the planet, because it's not very kind of French-like, but it's really nutritious, because he didn't need to eat 3 times a day. He only needed to eat like once every 2 days or so, because the calories are being released at different intervals. So he didn't really feel hungry when he was on the planet.
That sort of goes back to, I've been thinking about dietitians and different diets. And one of the funny things is, first of all, it reminds me of MREs. Nobody really wants to live on MREs, but apparently they can. But also it reminds me of, being able to fast for 18 hours, 24 hours. There's nothing wrong with that with your body. Your body can handle it. Americans, we don't think it's possible. We don't fast as a norm. But this is something that sounds like it's reminding us that our body is a machine, and that we can survive on very dense nutrition and only small amounts of it, instead of the gluttony that we have been accustomed to in America.
Do you not watch Naked and Afraid?
I think I saw one episode back when it started, and all I could do was laugh, because I was like, these guys are stupid.
I'm like, who in their right mind has to prove to anybody that they can live in the jungle for 21 days?
Naked and Afraid, I do feel like it's an extreme adventure for very bizarre people.
But Samuel was like, well, how did we get to here?
I could live off fish every day, though. I could find things to survive on. So, okay, so we got past that part. But is there, when you talk about parting the Red Sea, was this a technology?
Yes, they have far more advanced technologies than we can imagine. So they used a force field to part the Sea of Reeds, not the Red Sea, but the Sea of Reeds. And biblical scholars tend to agree that it's not the Red Sea that was parted for Moses. And so they do have really, they can actually perform all the miracles that's performed by Christ. So you can just imagine who they are, how they are. Yeah.
But technically, it's not a miracle.
Well, parting the sea is not. Is through the use of technology, but
right.
But the healing methods, and also the materialization or manifestation of foods by Christ, that's actually true. That actually happened. And also the resurrection of Christ was a historical fact. It's a miracle. Yeah.
So what is the difference between true miracles and technology that we don't understand? Because in the general population's eyes, when we see things like that, to this day, we would probably still say, oh my gosh, it's a miracle. I have witnessed a miracle. We are still using those terms when we're seeing the UFOs in the sky. Every time I see a new video, I hear the person taking the video going, it's a miracle. It's God. Oh my God, look at this. The angels are sending us signs. Or there's still that rhetoric, that terminology being used and passed in relation to us seeing UFOs still.
Yeah, it's. I think the important thing is to have the knowledge of what we are capable of, and who do you think that built the pyramid of Egypt, and for what purposes, and how it was built? Do you think that the 200,000 slaves were responsible for the Great Pyramid of Egypt. No,
Don't get me started. Don't get me
no,
started there.
it's actually they used the anti-gravitational technology to move the huge stones, and then using supersonic vibratory systems like a knife to cut the huge stones in a very precise manner. So this is how they built the moas, the statues on Easter Island as well.
I heard recently they've been destroyed. Have they, or is that fake news?
Destroyed?
Have they been burned recently?
No, I haven't heard that. The pyramid or the moas? No.
No. Okay. So apparently there's a lot of disinformation, because that's something that I've been trying to figure out for about 2 weeks now. And it's there's so much BS that gets spread on the internet daily. Sometimes it's hard to fact check, but that's one of the things that I've heard about lately. So I have some questions for you. Samuel, are you ready to take a question from the audience?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Amy says, Samuel, why did the Thiaoubans help only humanoids and destroy the insectoids and other non-humanoid life forms?
This is a very good question, and I don't know if Amy read the entire book or not yet, because in the later part of the book, it says that human beings are different, are unique, because when God, the creator, which is a pure spirit, created human beings, it inserted a tiny portion of itself to each one of us. So we are actually part of God, the creator, and God is part of us. But the insects or the animals, they are not necessarily that advanced. They don't have the sparkles of divinity from God. So in a sense, we are very special. Yeah, that's the reason.
So do you feel that is a relation to our soul? And are you saying that potentially animals do not have a soul?
Well, we have 9 different bodies, in which astral body is one of the 9. We also have the physical body, the astrotypical, and a few other bodies. And most animals only have 3 bodies. And for example, our astral body is made of electrons. So we have more electrons than animals. It doesn't mean that animals don't have a soul. It's just that they don't have as many electrons as we have in the astral bodies. Animals do reincarnate into other animals or different or plants or something like that.
Could we potentially have been animals in a past life?
In a sense, no, but it's more complicated than that. When we reincarnate, let me go back a little bit.
Sure.
So when we die, we give up our physical body, and our astral body goes up to our higher self. And to be more precise, 81% of the electrons of the astral body goes to the higher self. And the other 19% remains in nature until they're either recycled or when we reincarnate. So when people say that sometimes they see ghosts, those are actually the 19% of the electrons that remain in nature. And because electrons, they have static energy, static forces, they resemble the appearance of the person who was alive. And also because electrons have memories.
So they can still take up that physical form, even though it's just sort of the electricity or whatever you're saying. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why they frequently haunt the places they loved or hated. And sometimes when a person reincarnates into a new embryo, it only takes about 81% of electrons from the higher self, and the other 19% comes from nature. And sometimes the 19% of electrons from nature also contain electrons or the astral bodies of animals or plants.
I'm blown away. 40 minutes into this show, and I feel twice as smart as I was. Amy had another question. Throw that out because I want to get through questions, and I want to go back to
Okay.
top, yeah.
So let's see. The next question, another good one. Samuel, speculate on why their ship could travel at multiple of light speed, and yet inside they required force field restraints against inertia. That's a good question.
That's also a very good question.
Mhm.
In fact, in one of the lectures that Michel gave when he was still alive, he talked about how they travel at such a long for such a long distance. And what happened was that they first travel at a speed a few times faster than the speed of light to into deep space. And then once they're in deep space, they would use a technology or technique called super substantiation or transubstantiation, what I would call teleportation, to teleport themselves to another location in deep space. And then from that location in deep space, they would again travel at the speed a few times faster than the speed of light to their destination. They have to use teleportation in deep space because otherwise, if they didn't, they would have exploded. They would have been exploded. So this is why they have to do that. And when Michel Desmarquet was in the spaceship or spacecraft, he didn't feel any inertia at all. But as a precaution, he had to be restrained by the force field. So this is something that I really didn't ask him when he was still alive, because that's probably not as important as the real dangers on Earth that we're all facing right now.
Wow. Jeez. So there is seatbelt rules in space too. Duly noted. There's a comment here. I gotta share this. What is this? Josh Wheat. Check out Salvatore Patience Navy PhD and has a few. Check out the plasma compression fusion device, AAK, the arc of the high frequency gravity wave generator and room temperature. Samuel, break that down. What is he saying?
Yeah, there are a lot of patterns that I found to be very, very interesting and far ahead of our time. And I do suggest that people should look into those patterns because the military is far ahead of the civilian use in terms of the technologies. And I think there are devices that try to imitate the UFOs or UAPs of the ETs. But there are man-made devices or man-made crafts. And, it's very interesting. I know a friend of mine who lives in the Bay Area that told me that he could levitate when he was young after practicing a special form of Chinese Qigong or energy practice. And he was able to do that after fasting for a few days and after making his energy going through this microcosmic circle like that. But he lost the ability after he came to the US because he was more focused on making a living. So that's very interesting. We have a lot of human potentials. We also have a lot of technologies that are hidden from us or being kept by the government.
When you speak of levitation, I do remember hearing that some Tibetan monks were able to do this on a regular basis. Is this something that is trained into them, do you believe? Does it heavily rely upon states of meditation and potential enlightenment? Is there a technique that people can follow? Do you think you think everyone can do that?
I think with practice, everyone can do that. If people look up on YouTube and search for a History Channel video in which a magician called Dan White, that he documented his traveling to Nepal, meeting with a monk, in which the monk showed him that the monk was able to levitate. Being a magician himself, he didn't know how he did it. So everyone can do it just with practice. But it's not a hopping levitation that some people practice. It's not a hopping form. It's actually the through meditation and through I think Dr. Stephen Greer had that one experience in which he was totally relaxed, feeling like totally relaxed, and then he levitated in the middle of nowhere.
I remember hearing that about him as well. Like I said, we have a healthy skepticism, and I wish that I would be able to learn how to do that, because I feel like I do that in my dreams. I feel like I fly, right? The potential is there. I would feel, and maybe dream states sort of take a fantastical turn, but if you look at it that way and think about it, your dream state, and how potentially you can travel to other locations just through meditating and getting yourself there. Wonder if there was a way that just us normal folk, me and Kevin, could maybe learn to do that. Kevin, that's your job. We're gonna work on levitation.
I'm more normal than you, Tiffany. Just saying.
So it's up to me.
Well, maybe.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay. Can we move back or go back to pyramids?
Yeah.
What is the reason, the rhyme and reason why they were built? What are they? I first of all, I'm with you. I don't buy the fact that there was thousands, hundreds of thousands of slaves building these pyramids. In the size of these rocks, everything about that just doesn't. I don't buy that. I think there was some type of technology used. And who's this? I don't know what kind of technology was there, but obviously the precision of the rocks, everything, it doesn't fly with me that you had a bunch of slaves just putting a puzzle together. And then there's stories where the pyramids align with certain stars and stuff. So fill me in. Give me the Samuel Chong info.
Description.
Yeah.
We had very successful civilizations in the past, ancient civilizations. We also had two major great resets in which almost the entire population was wiped out. And the Great Pyramid of Egypt.
Population and technology.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
And exactly. And the pyramid in Egypt was actually built 17,000 years ago by a person named Thoth from Atlantis. He had the knowledge from the ancient civilizations of Lemuria and Atlantis, using what I mentioned, anti-gravitational technologies and also supersonic vibratory systems to cut the huge stones in a very precise manner. Because he had the knowledge, he was able to align the big stones, perfectly, so that the users, the ancient pharaohs, could sit in the king's chamber and meditate and communicate with people on different planets by projecting the energy and their thoughts from the top of the pyramid into other worlds. Because the pyramid is actually an energy center, it can concentrate cosmic and terrestrial energies. And it's also used to make rain using a metal plate of silver and other alloys, projecting energies into the sky, making clouds form so the rain would fall.
Oh, I don't know that. Okay.
In this has always sort of intrigued me about the pyramids, but there's like a connection here in the States. In Florida, there is a sculpture. There's I guess a whole compound, but it's like a castle built by this one guy. It's what's crazy is there are 2.2 million pound monument. Okay, so there's like all of these massive stones, and it seems like they never saw the man actually putting anything together.
Are
They
you talking
never
about the
saw.
Florida thing?
Yes, it's
The coral
called the
castle.
Coral Castle.
Because he had a box. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Tim.
But no one saw him actually building, and these things would just sort of, in the morning, they would be structures there, right? Do you feel like maybe he was in tune with these same technologies, these same entities that were helping him? Or do you feel that maybe he was one of these extraterrestrials himself, maybe?
I think he just had the knowledge to use the technique to neutralize gravity, and actually, it's not very it's not that kind of obscure, because the Tibetans had a technology or technique to do that too. When before the Chinese Communist Party took over, there were travelers who visited Tibet and saw the monks using a musical instrument, aligning themselves in a half circle and moving the huge stones into the middle of the sky. And this is just an ancient technology or technique that that got lost or got suppressed.
So it was a musical instrument. Is it like, was it like a horn?
Yeah, like a horn. Yeah.
Did they go around the structure to create some kind of resonance that lifted them?
So they stood like a half a circle, and then surrounding the stone that they were about to move up to the sky or mid air, and then they played the musical instrument. And then after different songs were played, and there was a resonant effect reached, and then the big stone would be lifted up to the air.
And that's very similar to the crumbling tower. Or no, it was in Jericho, right? The crumbling structure. Now my brain is fried again.
It's all right.
Was that right?
I don't know.
I think they went around the structure for 7 days using the horn, and then the structure fell. Right? Yes? No? Am I making that up? Don't say I'm making that up. I know I'm not making it up.
Well, staying with the
let me look it up.
Yeah, the thing.
I'll get back with you in 1 second.
The thing in Florida, there's a story to that there was some box that he had like elevated, that supposedly that something about that box helped him move all these stones. Am I thinking the right thing? Maybe I'm not. I thought that was it. With the coral, isn't it the coral?
It is, but
yeah, I thought it was some black box that was.
We've got half informations all over the place tonight for some reason, Kevin.
Okay. Well, then Sam's going to fill the gap. That's his job. Our half-ass stories. He completes us tonight.
He worked under the cover of night by only the light of a lantern when nobody could watch him. That's what it said.
What's Josh again? He's 100%. It's mind blowing. This has been purposely hidden from us. Didn't believe it at first until I started digging into CIA declassified research. 1998, they quietly released how
Tartaria was indeed purposely covered up by the USSR and went along with it. So that's saying that they knew about an ancient culture and just sort of wiped it off the planet. Nobody knows about it anymore. Sort of wiping it out of our knowledge.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Wow.
So do you feel that, let's go back to the UFO topic. Do you feel that our government is hiding a relationship with a certain extraterrestrial group? Or do you believe that these groups are entertaining different governments around the world for their entertainment, for their own benefit?
Yeah.
I think the governments are definitely hiding something from us. They're trying to reverse engineer the technologies from the ETs, from the spacecraft that crashed. And I do agree that it's important to disclose what the government has been hiding from us. But what I also want to encourage people is to read the book Thiaoouba Prophecy, because if the spacecrafts crashed on Earth, and that means that their technologies are not that far advanced because they crashed. We should learn from the best. We should learn from the ETs whose spacecrafts, whose UFOs would never crash, such as the Thiaoubans, because they're so far advanced than the ETs that the government has been in contact with. So this is why I really strongly encourage people to get a book, Thiaoouba Prophecy, for free, or just get a paper copy as well, because there are a lot of very practical information or knowledge that people can benefit from, such as the meaning of life, and also what the ETs have to say about our current civilization, or politicians, or governments, and how we can do better, how we can improve ourselves, how we can make the future a better future for our descendants. And what if we don't? Then we're going to be heading a catastrophe. So this book is actually a book of warnings to us, telling us that we have to change the ways how we live. And it has a lot of specific verifiable facts. It's kind of different from the Celestine Prophecy, because this book really caught my attention because it has so many interesting facts that I was able to verify. For example, if you search on the internet, there's a tomb of Jesus in Shingo Village, Japan, that very few people know about. And the book was written years before the advent of the internet. And the author, Michel Desmarquet, was a farmer, and he never traveled to Japan. How could he have known that there was a tomb of Jesus in Shingo Village, Japan? And there's a full description of the tomb, in which matches what people can find nowadays on the internet. And also talks about how King Herod killed 2,606 babies after Jesus, the baby Jesus, was born. Talks about a lot of the very specific facts of the birth of Jesus, and how he traveled to India and died in Japan, things like that.
Okay, wow. So now we're getting into another topic. So the idea that Jesus Christ was a human, born of a human female, but angelic fathers, right? The idea that he was a god, son of the god, right? Do you feel that, obviously you're saying that he did not die when he was crucified? He actually moved on to India to study a lot about the Hindu faith, and then went on to other countries and just learned from different monks and learned from different holy people. So you're under the impression that that is the actual truth, and not that he died that day on the cross. Is that correct? Or do you feel that maybe he had a resurrection and went on to continue his father's educational path?
So this is the reason why I would encourage people to read the book, because it's more complicated than that. Let me go back a little bit.
Okay.
So, the Hebrews were under the rules of the Romans. Similar to the Egyptian pharaohs, the Romans also suppressed the Hebrews in terms of their spiritual development. So the Thiaoubans decided to help in a very special way, in a very unique way. And so that's why they put the embryo into the uterus of Virgin Mary, and to have the little baby Jesus born that way, so that people would focus their attention to this phenomena at that time, that someone extraordinary was going to be born that way. So it caught people's attention. But the issue was that when a person is born that way, when the astral body enters into the embryo, it has to pass through what the ancient Nagas would call the river of oblivion forgetting all the knowledge to perform miracles.
Mm-hmm.
So the young Jesus, even though he was highly spiritual, having a very profound conversation with the teachers of the temple, he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't able to perform miracles. And he did go to India and travel through China and died in Japan. So this is why there's a tomb of Jesus in Shingo Village, Japan, that people can still visit. But Christ, who died on the cross and then resurrected 3 days after, was a different being. It was a being from the planet Thiaoouba who took on the body of Jesus, made by them, molded by them to resemble the appearance of Jesus who went to Japan, so that he would be able to perform miracles. The reason for that was that the people in the past, as well as people nowadays, they're highly skeptical. Unless someone could perform miracles, they wouldn't be believed. Because if just like Samuel Chong, just regular Chinese poor Chinese guy, what does he have to say about things like that? No one would believe me. But if someone can perform miracles, like heal all the wounds of the people and resurrect the dead and make breast appear and to give out to the people the mass to eat, walking on water, then he will be something like wonderful and miraculous, and his teachings would be believed by the people at that time. So this is why that happened. And he had to use a lot of parables or analogies to teach the lessons of or principles of spirituality and love. And actually, what Jesus taught was actually something that we should focus. Let me tell what he really taught. He really taught about love and to forgive and to be humble and to relate to God on our own, to seek for knowledge and to grow spiritually. So this is the real teachings of Christ that we should follow, not the teachings of the church, organized religions.
Amen.
Hey.
Just saying.
It makes me really question that 10% tithe to the church every month or week or year.
You still do that, Tiffany?
Well, I do pay for Catholic schools. I
that's
pay more than my share. I pay my share, your share, his share.
That's fair. No,
I got 3 of
you.
them, and I'm telling you, Mama needs a new job. That really is, it's not shocking to hear. It does feel like it makes a lot of sense. It's one of those things that, I was raised in the Roman Catholic Church. I started going, and we had Latin Mass, and I really enjoyed the Latin Mass, even though I didn't understand it as a child. But I do remember thinking I felt closer to a God because of the ritual. I feel like ritual is like meditation. It's comforting. It's something that you get into, and it does something to your body. The music, the sounds, the smells, the incense, everyone doing the same thing with you. I think that's important to have that. It's a relationship, and it's a companionship with others in a unified goal to be a better person and think about others before yourself. I think that that's a wonderful set of rules and guidelines to live by. Not everybody needs a religion specifically, but spirituality is something that I think, if you do not have a relationship with something bigger than you, if you don't know that there are consequences to your bad actions, you're probably not going to have a very wonderful life. At the end of the life, I would think, how many people have I impacted in a positive way? How many people have I helped? Have I been a guiding light for anyone? I think those are important aspects of humanity. And what it sounds like is there was almost like, I hate saying it, the body snatcher mentality, and coming down and taking Jesus and using his form to set a guideline for humanity, while maybe the real Jesus was the real person was out learning and elevating his consciousness and learning about how I can help humanity. Does that sound right? Am I on the right path?
Let me interject, add a little bit more background information.
Sure.
When Christ died on the cross and then resurrected 3 days after, he was to show people at that time that there's life after death and there's reincarnation. So what happens is that when we leave our physical body, when our astral body goes into the higher self, we have to go through this kind of a life review process that sometimes the people who have near-death experiences proclaim or say that they have, that everything that you did in a lifetime will be shown to you, and you will be able to feel all the pains or sufferings of the people that you harmed. For example, if I hit a person, I will be able to feel the pain of that person suffering from my like strike.
The
And
impact, yes.
the impact, and it's like a holographic film being played to you, and you would evaluate yourself. No one's going to judge you but yourself, and then you're going to know what kind of spiritual lessons you're going to learn in the next life, and and then you decide which family to be born into, and what kind of partner you're going to have in the life. So critical moments of your future reincarnation will be shown to you, and then you can decide whether to take it or not. It's like a life contract. So this is why all religions are against suicide, because it's a breach of contract that you sign before you're born. And it's important to realize that there are kind of council meetings in the of the Catholic Church that kind of decide which way to go about which is to be incorporated into the Bible, canonized the Bible, and there are so this is why I strongly encourage the people or the audience to read the book Thiaoouba Prophecy, because it listed the 4 Catholic Church Council meetings that intentionally distorted the original meanings of the ancient scriptures. So this is why we don't see the concept of reincarnation in the Bible anymore. And even though most other religions believe in reincarnation, not the Christian religion.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, Samuel, as an agnostic atheist, you're making this. It's hard for me to push back against anything you've really said tonight.
And after you read the book,
and after I read the book, and you know what, I don't read books, but this book, I might have to take.
I'm gonna get a copy, and you're gonna get a copy for Christmas. Merry Christmas early.
Well, how about you just read to me? Okay. Let's we're at 9:10. Let's segue to. I want to get to David Grusch.
Yeah.
But let's build it up. 2017, December 2017, the New York Times, they dropped the article about the government doing this project, spending money to look at UFOs, ETs, whatever. And the critics of that story and those involved up till now, with David Grusch coming out and as a whistleblower sharing information publicly that he can. I'm assuming, what do they call it? SCIFs. What are the meetings that they have, the security meetings with I think it's SCIF or something like that. Anyways, let's go back before we get to Grusch. When you're clearly in 2017, when that news dropped, were you already aware of that, or was that news to you?
Well, I knew that the government was hiding a lot of things from us, so I wasn't really surprised when that happened. It's just the mainstream media is trying to step by step revealing such information that has been kept at the government.
But then you had, with that story though, you had money. You actually had an amount of money that was spent. Supposedly, what was it, 22 or something like that? You had key players, supposedly, Lou Elizondo, and all the way to now with Grusch. What has been help us with David Grusch? He came out and shared his information. He was a part of that. When was the last time a bipartisan Congress got people together to talk about something where they were not.
He did not really share anything that was specific, though. He was very vague in a lot of things. And do you feel like his information is accurate? Do you feel like what he's shared has been accurate, or do you think that it's been watered down? Because I think a lot of the things that he was trying to discuss there were so many things that he was just like, yeah, that I can't share that information. I can't reveal the source. I felt like I didn't get as much out of it as I thought I was going to. Do you feel that he's been as honest as he can be with the information in this disclosure, the whole project?
I feel that just my personal opinion, I think he's a credible person because he lost a lot after making things public. And I do think this is very courageous of him to disclose whatever he could disclose. Of course, there are a lot of other things that people should be aware of. And I think the most important question that we should ask nowadays is that why there are so many wars in the world? And what really happened during 9/11? What about just the incident that happened a few years ago? Was that just something like casually that happened? Was there something more into that? So if I were the government, I would try to steer people's attention into something like the UFO or ET invasion, rather than having people to focus more on the hidden agenda of different groups that are running the government behind the scenes. But I think this is just like a diversion that the media, the mainstream media, is trying to play. But this doesn't mean that it's not true. It is true, but people should focus on the more important questions that affect our lives. Like, remember before 2001, we didn't have to go through the scanners when we fly into different cities. But now we have to. Who is making the money? And follow the money. I mean, so the book talks about the number one real danger on earth is money, and number two is politicians. And the book also gives a solution to that. That's the most important thing. And strongly suggest people to read the book and learn about the solution.
Can you give us a brief rundown of the solution?
Yeah. So what happens is that there's a planet that is run by a dictatorship government. Everything was
Is it Earth?
No, it's not.
Just curious.
Similar to Earth.
We're getting there.
Similar to Earth. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. But a different planet in which Michel Desmarquet was able to kind of meet with one of the leaders of the planet. And then, so 4 people who preached about love and spirituality protested in front of the palace of that government. And they had a fast, and they kind of wanted the change of the regime. Of course, the government didn't want to change. The politicians didn't want to change. So they killed the 4 people. So after the 4 people died, a few months later, everyone learned about what happened and what needed to be done. So everyone worked together in a concerted fashion, having a strike. The police joined force, the doctors, the lawyers, everyone joined force. So they blocked the path. And then, but when the ambulance came, they opened the path for people who were injured. So everyone kind of were working together to make things happen. And everyone stopped working for the financiers or the big corporations. And then the government backed down and listened to the demands of the people, made necessary changes. So that country turned out to be the most successful country on that planet. So in a sense, using nonviolent resistance, working in a concerted fashion, having a strike is a solution for a future. But we have to work together internationally.
There's a lot of growing pains that would be associated with that. I mean, we have a lot of prejudices that are just sort of in human nature. We have, our groups, and whatever that group is, we try to push forward the agenda of that group. It's just part of who we are as humans, that we want to stick together in our community. And you take care of your community, and then you work out, right? You work outwards from that community. You start with what you know, and then you have to meet other people, understand their culture, and see how you can work together to put forth a better humanity. I'm assuming that's what they do on other planets as well. But my curiosity is, I'm going way back to the beginning of our conversation, but thinking of like the Tower of Babel, we're bringing a little bit more Bible into this, but going out to these other planets, where do the different types of humans come from? Do we have pieces of other planets within our group of humanity here on Earth?
So there are 9 different categories of planets in the universe. We are currently living on category 1 planet, the lowest category.
So we're still learning. We're babies.
We're baby. We're elementary school students.
Okay.
And the Thiaoubans, the Jovans, they're living on category 9 planet. They're like college professors. And they have been helping us and guiding us throughout history, directly and indirectly, to guide us to develop our spirituality. And when during the ancient civilizations, when we were spiritually developed or highly developed spiritually, they made contact to us directly. And this is what happened in about 14,500 years ago. In the Pacific Ocean, there was a continent called Lemuria, in which a very successful civilization existed. So when we are ready spiritually, they're going to appear and make contact to us. But when we just like disbehave or just like naughty children, they're going to punish us as well. So this is what happened in the past to the people in Sodom and Gomorrah. So they do intervene sometimes, and there are different races or species of ETs and come and visit us, but most of them just come here as observers. They don't intervene at all. It's the Thiaoubans that were documented in the Bible that intervene directly or indirectly.
Do you believe that any of the Lemurians or the Atlanteans or any people from these older mythological, we'll call them mythological, even though we do have a belief system that they existed, do you believe that any of them were saved from damnation and gone back to the source, or do we have any way to connect with those beings today?
Yeah, we of course we can connect to those beings, and when people die, they connect to the source through their higher self, and it's possible to communicate with the dead, because I know people like in Southern California, in Fullerton to be exact, a Chinese lady can communicate with people who pass away, and also communicate with other beings too. And because I work as an interpreter, she doesn't speak English, so this is how I get to work with her or for her. And also ancient civilizations such as Atlantis were kind of destroyed, but also saved in the past. A lot of, if not for the burning of the Library of Alexandria. And actually, according to this book, Greek letters, I know you went to Greece, Greek letters were actually the letters from, or the language from Atlantis. So they were actually ancient language. It was an ancient language from Atlantis. And so this is why I think it's important to have the knowledge and to learn how successful we were in the past, how we can improve ourselves in the future.
That's incredible. I had never heard that Greek was involved in the Atlantean languages.
Yeah.
Well, the original Bible was written in Greek, not Hebrew, correct?
Well, it depends on the Old Testament or New Testament.
The old.
The New Testament was written in Greek.
The new one was written in Greek?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Old Testament was written in Hebrew.
In Hebrew? Okay.
And the book also explains why the Hebrews were the chosen people. This is going to get a little bit controversial.
No, let me hear it.
You want to go into that?
Yes, absolutely.
Sure?
Yes.
For the record, we do this show for Tiffany and I. You know, we don't care if we offend people.
This will be good. Let's hear it.
So apparently, we all came from different planets. The blacks and the yellows came from a planet about 1.35 million years ago. And then afterwards, the ancestors of the Polynesians came from a different planet and lived on Lemuria. And the Hebrews came afterwards. Actually, the Caucasians came afterwards. And the Hebrews came the latest, about 12,000 years ago, from a Category 3 planet. So we all came from, like the blacks, yellows, and Caucasians and Polynesians, they all came from Category 1 planet. But the Hebrews came from Category 3 planet. They were not supposed to. They came here by accident. So this is why the Hebrews were so
Was this
different.
through a portal?
No, they came by a spaceship,
Okay.
a spacecraft that got a malfunctioning of their engines or something like that. So they crashed into what's now today southern Russia. And then they had to survive, and they moved south and to what's now today Israel. And they encountered the uncivilized people, and they had to kill them. And so they were the ancestors of the Hebrews on earth. So the Thebans knew this, and they know this, and they knew this. They were thinking the Hebrews were going to intermarry the other people on earth. And gradually intermingle and become not as spiritual. But they miscalculated it. The Hebrews kept their blood pure. They didn't intermarry with other people on earth. So they rarely did that. And so this is why they're so unique. And so they kind of chose the Hebrews because they came from a higher category of planet.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this is why they have to suffer quite a bit throughout history during World War II and suffer from the prejudice of the other people on Earth, because they're frequently So read the book, you'll know.
Was there any was there any reference to the Rh negative bloodlines in this book?
It doesn't specifically talk about Rh negative bloodline, but it talks about the crystalline vibration of blood. Certain religions are against blood donation,
right?
And this book says that it is true, but after a month of transfusion of blood, the person receiving the blood donation will kind of neutralize the different vibrations or different crystalline vibrations of the blood of the donors. So it really doesn't matter after a month or so.
So you reprocess it through your body and sort of filter.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I'm not allowed to donate blood ever again. No. Yeah. And I have a tendency to hemorrhage. So I've had to have a few blood transfusions, and I don't feel normal after them. I feel almost less human after them. And it takes a long time for me to recover. And I've always sort of wondered if my blood has been tainted due to that. And And it takes a lot of time for me to recover from those transfusions. It's not a matter of healing. It's like a matter of recharging.
Hmm.
But I've always wondered, I do have Rh negative blood. I do have more of a tendency to be, I want to say, psychically inclined. And I've always had a connection to my spiritual side. And I didn't know if that was in relation to anything hereditary. Maybe we'll just say hereditary. I'll leave it at that. It's just a question that's always been in my head, and I think I'll always wonder if there is a difference with people with my blood type. Because they say that they've only been around for 4,000 years, and you're saying that the Israelite or the Hebrews have only been around for about 12,000 years on planet Earth.
Yeah.
So could there potentially be a different type of human in the people who have Rh negative blood?
It's possible. Everything is possible. And I think the most important thing is to really respond to the challenges that you face in your lifetime in a positive manner, because you know now that you're going to have a life review. You're going to reevaluate how you did in this lifetime. And I think the families or the groups that are running everything behind the scenes don't know this. They're taking advantage of everything in this lifetime, controlling the population and controlling the mass. And I think everything is possible, but it really depends how we respond to the situations.
Does the book say anything about how many families are really running the earth?
12. Not the book, but Michelle told me
Yeah.
there are 12 families.
12 families.
Yes.
And are they pretty much spread out throughout the world in order to help control the populace?
They divide the world themselves. And according to Michelle, the Catholic Church is actually one of them.
Yeah, I would believe that 100%.
Go figure. Yeah.
I mean, it also is the smallest country, yet the most wealthy country on earth too, I believe.
Yeah.
What's in the Vatican, Samuel?
What's in the Vatican's library?
What's all down in there?
It's interesting that you asked. No, do you know Danny Sheehan, the former lawyer for the Disclosure Project?
Yeah.
He tried to access the Library of Vatican, the Vatican Library, but he was denied access. It's just like not giving enough information to your own attorney. It's kind of, there must be something inside the library.
He's very devout too. He's a very intelligent man who has really, I feel, helped humanity, trying to find answers for us. And he has been very involved with the UFO world.
And I interned under him.
Oh, you did?
Nice.
I did, yes.
That's cool. For the record, Joe Fox is just getting here, so let's start all over and recap. No, I'm kidding. But he says Hebrews are the chosen ones?
Yes, they were the chosen ones by the Thiaoubans, by the ETs, to really make example of how we should develop our spirituality. But that doesn't mean that they're superior than us. And in a sense they are, but in other sense they are not. But read the book Thiaoouba Prophecy and you're going to know all the answers.
I'm going to read the book.
Do you feel that their struggle that they're still continuing to go through today is part of a program?
Yeah, we have to go through the struggling process ourselves in order to survive on this planet for the long term. Because if we are just given a very comfortable environment, we would never grow spiritually. It's through the challenges, through the life lessons that we learn and we grow. And we have to go through the process ourselves. We cannot rely on the helps of the ETs for that matter.
I mean, this is where I feel like I should be the honorary guy who takes the white flag, waves it at the ETs, like, oh, come help us. Oh my God, this planet, it's we're in a state of disarray. You can't say anything, do anything without a reaction, and typically it's negative. I mean, if
aggressive.
if we talk politics, if I stated where I lean, I will have people coming at me that going back in the day, I did another podcast. I had another podcast, and I can tell you right now, it was a podcast I was doing for 5 years. I loved it. It's pop culture, shooting from the lip. I loved everything about it. And I did a show where it was after the election, Biden, Trump. And I had conservatives, I had Democrats on. Great show. What really annoyed me was the chat. Everybody in the chat was just attacking each other. I had, because it's where we are right now. We're in a state of divide. Are we getting close to the Sodom and Gomorrah thing? I mean, I'm not joking. I mean, we have to be close where if the intelligence, if the superior beings are letting us do our thing, they've got to get to the point. We have to be getting to the point where they're like, oh God, we're gonna have to reset.
We're gonna have to wipe them out again. They didn't get it,
or help them figure it out, because I just feel like we're veering off the road. We're not in the center anymore, and I hate that for us.
That's actually a very important question that you asked. Are we getting close to where Sodom and Gomorrah is? This is actually the reason why I visited the author in person, trying to find out what else he knew but couldn't write in the book, because the ETs prevented him from writing in the book all the things that he knew. And I learned about a secret, which I cannot disclose, but I wrote an article.
This show is called Universal Secrets. You can't disclose a secret. That's a tease.
So I gave a lot of hints and clues in the article, and the title of the article is "The Second Coming of Christ," or Jesus Christ. What we need to do to prepare, and I'll give you an analogy, and you can do the calculations. Enoch was taken away by God, and a few decades later, his great-grandson Noah was told to build an ark. And a researcher estimate that's between 40 to 60 years that Noah was told to build an ark. And Michel Desmarquet was taken by this group of ETs, the Thiaoubans or Jehovans, to their planet, and he was instructed.
You're saying Thiaoubans, or what did you just say?
Jehovans. This is the French.
Or Jehovans.
Yes, this is the French pronunciation. Jehovans. The French pronunciation. Yes.
Okay. All right.
French.
Yes.
And he was instructed to write a book, and he wrote a book in 1989 and got it published in 1993. So do the calculations and see where we are right now. And it's also very interesting that Kevin, you mentioned that you would wave the white flag and say, "ET, and come and help us." And I would counter by saying that it's just like you are giving a calculus problem to solve, and you are giving up. And there are different situations in life. I would respond by saying that, oh, give me more challenging problems for me to solve so that I can learn more, so that I can accumulate more spiritual lessons in this lifetime, so that I can move up the ladder faster and quicker and go to a category 9 planet, which to me seems like a heaven, because everything is so perfect and people never die on the planet. They're forever looking young, like in their 30s. They can regenerate their body cells and tissues. Everything was just so perfect. And there's just no wars, no thieves, and everything is about love and compassion. And Michelle didn't want to come back after being there for 9 days. he was taken back unknowingly, and he was always looking to go back there after he came back. So he wanted to go back to the paradise. So I would counter that, give me more challenging problems to solve so that I can go to a category 9 planet when after I die.
So if we do
for the
not do
record,
that, if we don't go through those struggles, we will be stuck in a slower progression. Is that
yeah,
correct?
how much more struggles do we have to go through, though?
Quite a bit, actually. You know, we have wars in Ukraine and Russia. We have the wars in Middle East, and the U.S. is trying to send more troops. And actually, a lot of my friends are telling me a nuclear war is inevitable. A third world war is inevitable. But I'm optimistic. I think I can try to make a move and to change, maybe prevent it from happening. And I'm actually working on that. I'm actually going to Germany next month, meeting the people who know about the members of the Illuminati
Mm-hmm.
to learn about their secrets.
That's another whole topic. That's
right.
that's another hour and a half long conversation.
This is where I push back quite a bit when it comes to God, this love. There's so much going on on this planet. Just same with the war, Ukraine, Russia. You got a lot of innocent people. You have people who do not deserve the rape, torture, death, all that. How is it? I mean, again, this is where I struggle with the whole. I cringe, and I'm saying when I say this, all due respect. When I hear someone utter the words "God is good," I'm ready to lose my mind, because the person that says that to me, when something bad happens, won't say God is bad. They typically follow up with, does it moves in mysterious ways, there's a rhyme or reason. Stop.
Let me explain this a little bit. So
Okay.
God is a pure spirit. It doesn't have any physical form or
Right.
body. So it has to experience everything that we experience, the sorrows, the happiness, the pains, and the sufferings. So it uses us, our physical body, as a vehicle to experience everything that we on earth suffer and experience. But we only send the positive feedback to our higher self, to the source, to the creator. And
Why? Why only the positive?
The positive, so that we can move up because if a person
wouldn't the negative feedback be the real feedback?
Relevant.
I guess what am I missing here?
Relevant.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the reason I would encourage people to read the book, because the book explains better than I do. So there are different levels or filters that we have to go through. And if you're by negative, I don't mean the sufferings or the pains. I mean materialistic endowments or materialistic cravings. If you're just too focused on the materialistic aspect of our life, those things get filtered out. But if you're more compassionate, giving love to all the people that we encounter, and following the teachings of Christ, then we would send all this kind of experiences, whether it's pain or sufferings, or whether it's happiness or joy, we would send back this kind of experiences to our higher self, to higher self, to the source. And this would pass through the filtering system. But if we just focus on earning more money and accumulating more material wealth, like a car or something like that, then those don't get sent to our higher self. So this is just how things work. And also, like, we have a lot of sufferings or death in our family or in the world. Those really don't matter to the ETs, because the physical bodies that we have are just vehicles or tools that we use to learn the spiritual lessons. So if people die in a war, it really doesn't matter, because they're going to get reincarnated in their future lives. So that's not the most important danger. The most important danger is how we live in the world. This is how we help each other and how we become more compassionate.
Well, we need to figure that out because compassion is lacking these days, in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
I have a question. So, what I've noticed since 2017, when we had the first little inkling of disclosure with the ET topic, have you noticed how dark and demonic the public entertainment world has become, and how demonic the press and the celebrities, everything seems really demonic and sick these days. Do you think that is a plan? Is it part of the plan for us to grow beyond that? Do we have to endure all of these satanic imageries and things like that that's going on in the pop culture right now?
As probably you know, the media is controlled by a few families, and the media nowadays is very different from the media like 20 or 30 years ago. And I do think that people need to wake up and to break away from the mainstream media. I don't watch the mainstream news anymore, actually. And I think it's important for people to look inside for answers, not to follow the mainstream media. And the less we follow them, the less they're going to influence us. So I think but on the other hand, we also have to know the truth, have the knowledge. The government had this kind of secret program retrieving the crashed UFOs, retrieving the UFOs of the Greys. And actually, Michel Desmarquet also talked about the Greys. They did put implants to some of us, about 150 people or so, by the year 1995, just to monitor us how we respond to the same situation that they were having, which is the increasingly decreased immune system. We have been losing our immune system since 1948, and they were losing their immune system as well. But the Thiaoubans have been saying that there's absolutely no need to worry about that because they have been monitoring the activities of the Greys. Again, we should learn from the best. We shouldn't learn from the Greys, who also come from a Category 1 planet. We should learn from the the professors, the superiors, the people from Thiaoouba, which have been helping us throughout history as documented in the Bible.
I'll say it. Read the book. Read the book. Come on, read the book. Because they haven't, the ETs of all the species, haven't announced their presence with authority. That tells me, I do believe that they're here, but that tells me that we, the planet, the leaders, somebody, whoever, there's an agreement. There has to be something, because to me, an intelligence at that level, Category 9 or whatever, we're ants to them. Why in the hell are they even interested in taking an order from us, or any type of directive, or in a some kind of an agreement? What's the rhyme and reason there?
The reason is that great revolutions all come from at the grassroots level, not from top down. If you want to change the president, little is going to be changed. Every great revolution in the world, whether it's in China or in the US or in any country in the world, all come from the mass, the public. So they're trying to have Michel to write this book and to really give the knowledge to the general public so that people can decide, make the changes necessary for their better future.
Read the book.
Read the book.
Read the book.
I before we shut this down, I do have to go back to Grusch. I mean, what is next with him? With that hearing, he did have two credible military people with him who had their own encounters, which I believe they did. I mean, these are guys that are we trust in protecting us, and they're sharing their experiences that they've not seen this kind of technology. And what, staying with like Fravor, David Fravor, he saw the Tic Tac in 2004.
Yeah, but they were seeing them every day.
Yes, but
that was only the one. There's only a few that were like the videos were shown,
right?
But they were seeing them every day, all the time,
and they just kind of dismissed it until that moment. But here's where I'm going, Samuel. It's 20 years later. It's been 20 years since that incident happened, and I've seen David Fravor on. He's 20 years later, he does not know. So if it was some of our technology or some other country's technology, wouldn't that have somehow gotten back to him within a 20-year window that someone's like, Dave, stop. It's
stars.
US technology, or it's, Earth technology, not,
ETs in the sky.
Yes.
Well, I do think that the military has successfully reverse engineered some of the ET technologies. And if you see the triangular shaped UFOs or UAPs, those are probably ours, the government's. But there are also the real ET spacecrafts. And I think the government is trying to disclose the information little by little. And then if there's something that happens that they have to unite people and to really make a one world government, they would use the ETs as a threat and to really control the entire population of the world. So it's really important for the general public to know that there are the real ETs. There are real ETs existing in the world, but there are also the government programs that try to pretend to be the ETs.
Well, it's been brought up supposedly that there's this alien invasion,
imminent invasion.
Yeah, which, real or not, there's an agenda. Obviously, if the government's involved, there's some kind of an agenda. What's your take? Is there really potential? I mean, we got a lot of shit on this planet that the ETs might want.
So
Kevin, I know you have beautiful soft hands. I think that's what they want. They need a massage therapist.
I'm too old to fight or anything like that.
You wouldn't be good in war.
No, not at all.
I apologize.
Let me give you some information. We did go to the moon 50 years ago, the US astronauts, but we never went back. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, what's on the other side of the moon? Go on, spill the beans.
We were warned out from the moon.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about alien invasion, are they going to invade us? We are warned out from the moon because we are not ready, because we are fighting amongst ourselves. Michel Desmarquet was told that we would never explore these outside of the solar galaxy at all, or inside the solar galaxy for that matter, because we are still spiritually undeveloped or underdeveloped. And you see analogy, when you see two groups of gorillas fighting against each other in a zoo, would you really want to invite them to your beautiful mansion and make a mess? You wouldn't. Similarly, they would prevent us from exploring the solar galaxy, and they would prevent other underdeveloped ETs from invading us. They wouldn't. It goes both ways. They would prevent
us. So you do feel that they're protecting us from other more negative entities?
Yes, they are.
Wow.
So is there a true galactic federation?
the people talk about that, and I don't see any proof. I work with lawyers and doctors. I need proof. and to that, I have I have to put a grain of salt on that.
Okay.
I'm bringing this up, and it's going to sound funny, but I'm being serious. One of my all-time favorite alien movies is Predator.
I love that.
Predator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So the concept was that there's an alien who comes to this planet and hunts hunts not warriors.
Were they in? I can't remember. Were they in Vietnam? There was some.
It's like South America or something.
Oh yes, you're right. Okay,
so
yes,
where I'm getting with this is that
it was like Colombia or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Isn't there? Wouldn't there be that type of alien out there that would no?
The reason is that the ETs, the Thiaoubans, would allow wars to happen on Earth because we are the ones creating the wars. We are fighting amongst ourselves, but they wouldn't allow other ETs invading us or harming us. They're our angel guardians, and they're protecting us.
So they are like the Watchers in the Bible. They're making sure that we are. Okay, so we're bad children sometimes, and we have our squabbles, but eventually we'll work it out. Is that what you're saying? We will eventually grow from those irresponsible decisions and hopefully make better ones in the future.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, but how much longer is that future?
Do the calculations. I gave you so much hint.
He did.
I think it's going to be September 29th.
It's going to be within.
We only have a few more days.
Okay, we're closing in on 2 hours. Samuel, this is the last part of our show. We do a rapid fire with our guests. Totally, just have fun with it. Promise it'll be good. First concert you attended?
Richard Clayderman.
Who is that?
The French pianist.
Oh, okay.
Very nice.
Gee, okay. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
If I know how to communicate through telepathy, yes. And I would prefer to, when you're able to communicate through telepathy, language is not going to be a barrier. It's like the Tower of Babel. It's just like that.
He's got his answer. He's got an answer and a great explanation. Invisibility or super strength?
Invisibility, because I like to pry on the secrets.
There you go.
There you go. What's if you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
The Roman Empire, and to see how depraved they were.
Oh gosh, that's a little dark.
Okay. What's a Samuel pet peeve?
What's a pet peeve?
It is something that really irritates you.
Okay.
Besides this last 2 hours.
To be serious, I would say people who are ignorant and who don't get the real meanings and what's really important in life.
That's a damn good pet peeve.
Yeah.
What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
I don't eat ice cream.
Jeez. Tiffany, what's yours?
Okay, what's your favorite? Do you eat mochi?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I only eat something that's natural because ice cream or mochi they have artificial sugar and
preservatives that aren't okay. Okay. So, what is your favorite dessert then?
Tropical fruits.
Passion fruit.
Tropical fruits like mangosteens or durians.
Durian? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
You really like it? I have been dying to have just one little sample, just one sample of durian. And I have not come across it yet, so I'm waiting.
Look, Joe, the rapid fire is not for you. What's going on? We got a guest here. What is
lychee? Oh, I like that too. Yes, we actually buy those every once in a while, and the rambutans.
Yeah,
I like them. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. He's not an ice cream fan. That just means more for us, Tiffany.
Okay.
I'm assuming
I'm so skinny.
cake or pie. You don't like cake or pie?
No, I don't eat that. You know, people ask me how to lose weight. I see eat natural fruits and vegetables, and that's the most important thing to lose weight.
Do you eat meat?
I do. Meats are fine, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But not pork.
So no pork. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not with you on that one because I like a barbecue. I like a barbecue.
All right, Samuel, if you could ask God one question, what would it be?
It's a serious question.
It is.
I'll say how to navigate the system in the world and wake people up more. This is my question in life, and I want to ask God for it.
It's good.
It's a very good one.
I like that. Ask permission or beg forgiveness?
Ask for permission.
I think he's the only one that has ever said that.
I know it. He would. What's your like all-time favorite movie?
All-time favorite movie, The Sound of Music.
Oh, I love every word of that. I know every word. I've sang every word. I love it.
Right. Doe, a deer, a female.
Yeah.
Yes.
Deer. Keep going. Ray.
Do you want me to sing it?
Yes, please. Come on. Entertain our guests for the next 30 seconds.
No, I'm not going to.
Come on. Doe, a deer, a female.
No, I'm not doing it. Stop.
Okay.
Occasionally he'll get me to sing.
Yeah, well. Tiffany, what's the one question you always ask?
No.
No? You're not gonna ask that? Okay, fine.
Do snitches get stitches?
Sam was like, what the
Do
hell?
people who snitch and tell the truth on others get in trouble? Are they supposed to get in trouble? This is like a David. This is like
the whistleblower.
This is a whistleblower question.
They're going to face consequences.
Yeah, I'm actually ready for that because I don't mind being the next Gandhi or Dr. Martin Luther King. I don't mind being that.
Okay.
I'm ready.
That's a scary potential ending, and I hope that is not the case because I really do think that you have a great message to share with the rest of humanity.
Yeah, I'm going to Germany in October. Remember, I'm meeting the people who know the members of the Illuminati. That's a big exposure for me, actually.
So after you go for that meeting, we would love to get back together and hear some of the nitty-gritty details. I know you probably I know you probably won't be able to share a lot, but I would love to hear what transpires at that meeting.
Yeah, don't say anything that's like within 15 minutes someone's going to be knocking at my door because you spoke of something that I was not supposed to hear.
Yeah, we don't want to get whacked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last question for you. What is your happy place?
And I really would want to join the great ether, the creator of the universe, after going through so many cycles of lives. And that's probably if you read the book, you're going to know that's actually better than paradise, better than heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful. And Samuel Chong, you have been probably one of our sweetest guests that we've had and very enlightening. And I appreciate everything that you shared with us. And after this conversation, I will be purchasing tonight. And I recommend that every one of our listeners follow this guy, check him out. Also, get the book. Get the book.
The book title is Scrolling.
Pronounce it again, please.
Thiaoouba Prophecy or
Thiaoouba
Prophecy.
Prophecy.
Yes.
Thiaoouba Prophecy. I can't even say it for some reason.
I'm assuming it's on Amazon too.
It
You can
is.
find it, yeah.
And also on Audible too.
Yes, it is. But those are like $19, $19.99, and I'm telling you right now, the PDF is free, and on Barnes and Nobles, it's $9.99 for a paperback.
Well, let's give our Samuel some love. Don't promote the PDF.
It's fine. It really doesn't matter.
I mean, it's out there, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It is accessible, and it sounds like a fantastic read. So,
I concur, Joe. An amazing guest tonight, Tiffany. I knew tonight was going to be different from our shows because I could already sense Samuel was going to be very in the zone. This was good. And again, I don't read books, but I'm pretty damn sure I'm going to read this one.
Yes.
Just saying. Where can people find you, connect with you, share that?
People can follow me or find me on Facebook or YouTube. And there they can find me like other interviews on different shows. Also, I'm trying to become a public speaker, speaking on different events and trying to bring more awareness of how to live a better life, and trying to to tell people that there's actually reincarnation after we pass.
Tonight was very convincing, Tiffany. Samuel, thank you so much for doing this. Again, as someone who is the skeptic, agnostic, atheist, you forced my hand to you kept me honest tonight.
And as a Catholic, he's totally convinced me on some things and educated me on others that I had never really gotten answers to. So I appreciate the connections. Yeah.
Joe hooking you up with the Amazon. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you hanging with us tonight.
Joe is just like the author Michel Desmarquet, a man of action.
Yes. At the very beginning of the show, he said, "I'm buying the book, getting online."
In 30 seconds, if the author was still here, Michel, what would he say? What would he with what in 2024? What would his summation be right now with where we're at?
We all have challenges in life. It is important to look inside for answers, for the kingdom of God is within you.
I like that. I believe that.
I wish he was still here. We would have had him on with you tonight.
And thank you for continuing his hard work and spreading the messages, because it does sound like a message of love and potential greatness for us if we can learn to work together and cease the petty aspects of why we are in disagreement all over the world. So I appreciate your message, and we thank you so much for being on this evening.
Thanks for having me. Yes.
Thanks so much, Samuel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Tiffany, we my gut about tonight was about spot on. I knew this vibe was going to be different. But I was so open for it. I'm so glad. I mean, this was not one of our. This is different. It was not one of our normal shows, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That So, in the chat, great conversations, comments in the chat. Appreciate it. Where do we go from here? I mean, what's
Hopefully, I'm going to have some little. I'm going to meditate tonight, And I'm going to try to
I'm getting the
connect
book.
with these omnipotent beings.
Yeah, it was in our notes, and I guess I just totally missed that.
Mhm.
The fact that he referenced 150, how many aliens? Over 100.
150
Yeah,
147, yes.
and you touched on it early in the show where some of our past guests had talked about like 50, 60.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
that number was like, whoa,
But it makes more sense because
it
it
does.
seems like as we go and explore further and have telescopes that can see further, we're learning that there is more potential for life. And we're just learning that we're a teeny, teeny, tiny, minuscule part of life. So it's wonderful, actually.
This was
So
yeah, go ahead, sir.
So next week, we have disclosure experiencers, an ET experiencers conversation with Nancy Timms. So
Oh
that will
yeah.
be another ET show. So definitely, you guys check back with us next Tuesday night and be ready for more information from Nancy Timms on disclosure. And hopefully, we'll just continue down this rabbit hole together.
This is Universal Secrets, who again I espouse the narrative that my bestie here, the lovely Tiffany Mack, this show is part of her journey
Mhm.
to get answers to questions that maybe she hasn't asked yet. So uh yeah, next week, Nancy, we've got some cool shows. Yeah, there's one. I can't wait, Tiffany. The hops, I see you in the
Hopkinsville.
you're familiar with the goblin
The
story, right?
goblins. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I can't wait.
I can't wait. We
Yeah.
got vampires and
Oh,
everything. I
oh,
mean,
oh.
we got it. All right. To family good. Didn't ask. Everybody
Everybody's
good.
great. Mhm.
My man, all
Great.
well, feeling better. All right,
Yep.
good. Simply rock.
Yep. Trying to build that greenhouse that's gonna eventually
I gotta
exist.
come
Right
over
now,
and
we just
see
have the
that.
huge I know, right now, it just looks like we have, uh, I don't know, some kind of foundation, and then we have, like, this
Looks like a
huge
landing pad.
UFO landing pad.
I love it.
Why don't I
Don't
just
do
leave
it.
it that way?
If you show a picture of some object hovering over that, I will lose my mind. Please.
Okay,
Let's
well, let's
Photoshop or
worry
something.
let's work on that, over the next few weeks.
Yeah,
See if we
get
can
I gotta
conjure something like that.
I gotta get over to the compound.
All
All
right.
right, Tiff, great show tonight. Thank you everyone in the chat for hanging with us. Do your thing, take us home, and we'll be gone.
Thank you so much for hanging with us tonight, listening to another interesting episode of Universal Secrets with Tiffany Mack and Kevin Hale. We thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
Peace out. This has been Universal Secrets.